Welcome back, everybody. I got a new vlogging camera for lawn care, and I just wanted to share what I got and why. And I'll start with the ad. This is Amazon, and this is where I found clearly outside there's going to be cars going by. Anyway, it is the Canon R700, VIXIA HF R700, and I believe it's going to be a pretty good camera. And the reason why is because I have Canon products. I have the Canon HF VIXIA G30, also the Canon T5i, and I've used them extensively, and I know that I know the ins and outs of those products, and so I knew this one was going to be pretty good. By the way, here it is right here. I'll get to that in a moment, but I just wanted to show this setup that they're offering. This company, it says by Canon. Now I'm filming this with a GoPro, so I can't get too close, which is actually one of the problems with GoPro. But it is sold by this Kamita camera. Anyway, they sell a number of different packages here. They always have all these different packages where they can it's not scrolling, but okay, there it goes. You know, all different variations of things included in packages for different situations. And I saw this one, and it occurs to me that this is perfect for outdoor vlogging, and I'll tell you why. I'm gonna have to switch cameras to get closer to this. Well, yeah, one of the reasons why I needed a new vlogging camera was because of the limitations I'm running into with the GoPro. I normally use GoPro for everything, except for some situations where I will bring the G30 out there, but for the most part, it being a big camera, I don't, you know, it's a little bit bulky to deal with. And on the other hand, this one, the T5i, takes the best video of them all, but it's even bigger and even bulkier and heavier. You can't really even, you know, you're not going to get that on an end of a selfie stick. Now this one weighs just nothing. Where am I? Nothing. I'll have to compare it to the GoPro. Let me switch cameras. Okay, now we're cooking. I am using the G30 now, and I just wanted to go over a few of these things in this ad. Of course, the camera itself. Now the reason why I think that's going to be a pretty good camera is because of, oh, it'd be better to just show, okay, here we go. Show the camera itself. CMOS sensor. Now that is the same sensor that's in this G30, and so the only limitation that it's going to run into is that its lens is smaller, so it's not going to be able to draw in as much light, which curiously is a problem that I'm having with this camera right now. Let me just turn this, there we go, brighten that up a little bit. Okay, so it is also just as capable in its capture. It's going to be able to take MP4 progressive in 1080p at 35 megabits per second. Also AVC HD progressive in 1080p, and that's about 28 megabits per second, which is actually identical to what the G30 is doing. And well, in the GoPro takes it at about 30,000, 30 Mbps, which is, so it's right up there with it, which is kind of amazing. Because this camera only costs $300, whereas this GoPro is about $500, and the G30 I'm using is about $1,300, and this one's about $1,000. So what's amazing is that this camera appears as though it's going to be able to keep up with these other much more expensive cameras very easily, and I think that's going to make it a perfect vlogging camera because quality is important. Now the other thing, okay, so the sensor is great. The other difference between this camera and this camera is right here. It's a zoom. Now it's got a rock solid 32x optical zoom, and then it's got this advanced zoom where it kind of mixes the two, and it looks pretty rock solid. I'm going to be doing a much more in-depth review on this camera. That's why the word review isn't in the title, because this is not a review. This is just a sharing, just I got a new camera type video. and reasons why I'm going to be using it. But the full review is going to be later, because you have to use it for a while to do an accurate review. But that's one of the things I needed, was a zoom, because the GoPro does not have a zoom. Also, the IS, there it is right there. Yep. Image stabilization. Now, I'm having the biggest problem with the GoPro. It shakes around all over the place, and I don't want to use a gimbal contraption and so on. I would really rather the camera just stabilize. Now, YouTube stabilization's okay, but it kind of looks a little bit like a drug trip. And a couple of my editors do the stabilization, but the frame shows and it's a disaster. It's better if the camera is just stabilizing as it's filming, and so that's why I want to go with this. I've tested this out a little bit, and I can tell you that its stabilization is exactly what the G30 is doing. It's exactly the same. If you can compare them side by side, they have the same stabilization, which is fantastic. And I will include some examples of video capture on the end of this video so you can see. But that, in a nutshell, were the big reasons why I wanted something different. Now, I'm going to definitely be using the two of these together, because there's a lot of things that the GoPro can do that this one can't do, such as the high frame rate slow motion. And but then, of course, no zoom, no stabilization. For the shots where you're walking and talking, you want this one. Anyway, getting back to the package, I will go through these kind of quickly because I don't want this to be a long video, and I'm pretty sure you don't want it to be a long video. Everything in this package is in this box. This is the way it came. So let's start going through it. Okay, here we go. Here's everything. Now, of course, all these packages always come with a standard, very low-end tripod, but you know what? I can use as many of these as I can get, because the great thing about these, you don't have to worry about them so much. If you totally demolish it, I mean, what do they cost? I mean, I think probably about $15, I guess. Anyway, I have two cheap tripods like this and two good tripods, and my two cheap ones already have issues, so it's nice to have a third one. Anyway, okay, packing slip, just a general packing slip. This is the box that the camera came in. It's not in there right now, of course. But yeah, there are plenty of unboxings on this. If you want to just see an unboxing, I noticed a number of people did it, so I'm not going to do it. Anyway, yeah, this case is really neat. I'll get to that last because I'm going to have to open that up. Now, right here, this is important. Condenser microphone. Now, the camera, hold on one moment. Okay. The camera does have the jack for the microphone, external microphone. That's another thing that's great about this camera. It's a jack for the external mic, because you can plug in this external mic, which will give you better quality, and then you can also put this big foam cover on there, which I'm hoping they show a picture of it. They don't. But that is to eliminate the wind noise. That's a big foam pad on there. And curiously, we do have a windy day today. Wow, that is awfully bright. Okay, I have this on specific settings. I'm using manual controls, that's why. That was funny. Anyway, that's what that's for. If you're ever wondering how you can eliminate the wind noise, yeah, you got to put foam over your microphone, or you could tape cotton ball to your microphone if you know where it is on your camera. That's just a little tip there. And the whole thing, oh yeah, since there is not a hot shoe on the top of the camera, it has to be attached by the bottom bracket there. which is like where on the bottom, you know what I mean? Through there and onto the tripod, or just onto there and you hold it handheld. I'll try to put that together and show y'all in a little bit. Anyway, moving on. In here we have a light kit, just an LED light kit, and it says that the brightness level is the, yeah, there we go, 55K, or 5500K Kelvin, or, oh, what is it called? Daylight, yeah. So, that will light up your dark scenes, and I just want to say right up front, this thing is having trouble in low light. It's not like this camera. This camera that I'm using, you can shine it into the dark and everything looks fine. But this other one has a little trouble, and the reason being that the lens is smaller, so it doesn't let as much light in. But that's what that's for. So if you're doing filming indoors, or you in the dark, you want to put that on. Okay. Now the rest of these things, let me just dump these out. They give you all kinds of stuff. Okay, spare battery, golden. So when I turned it on this morning, it was saying 145 minutes, which is 2 hours and 15 minutes it'll run on that battery. Of course, you have way more space on your stick. So if you hit 2 hours and 15 minutes and you still need to film, you just put in your second battery and you got another 2 hours and 15 minutes. Awesome, if I did the math correctly on that. And what is this? Okay, there's a separate charger. Now the camera has its own charger that came in the box that it plugs in, like to the little plug on the side right there. But if you wanted to charge the battery separately, you could just put it in there. Also has the cigarette lighter adapter for the car, and that's awesome. Then right here, they always throw in a lens cleaning kit, which is good. And this is a UV filter. I've never actually used a UV filter. I guess I'll have to play around with that. I've ordered some of these packages before. They always come with sets of filters, and I've used the polarizer, but I've never used the UV filter, so I don't know what it does. And here you got the universal screen protectors. That's a very good idea. Now I got to show the I got to remember to show the screen on that, because it has already a coating on it where you can actually see the screen in the sun, which is amazing. Even the camera I'm using here doesn't do that. But in addition to this is to keep it from getting all scratched up. This is probably a very good idea, considering it's going to be a vlogging camera and my hands are always going to be dirty. So I believe I will use those. Oh, sorry. And then finally here we got the bigger stick. Now I use a 32 gig stick in the GoPro, and I've come close to filling it up before, which is just scary enough that I wanted to go a little bit bigger. And what do you know, they offered a 64 in this pack, so that's a 64 gigabyte stick. Now out on a regular lawn care vlog, you're never going to fill up a 64 gig stick. So that's assurance right there. I'll have to put that in the camera and record some video for you. And finally, the case. Let me pull that out and film that. Okay, so here we go with the case. Now I got to say, the case is not what I was thinking. I didn't look at it good in the picture. I was thinking it was going to be a lockable case, and it's not. And I also thought it was going to be a lot smaller. I thought it was going to be closer to the size of the camera, but it's huge, which I guess is pretty good. But I don't think I'm going to be taking this out with me. I think I might be looking for a smaller case. Honestly, I wanted to be able to lock the case and then lock the case to something in my truck. Is what I was hoping for, but I didn't get it. But I'll show the case anyway because it's part of the package if anybody's interested in that package. By the way, the link for that Amazon package will be in the description somewhere. Of course, the top is standard, they say egg crate. These are some kind of dividers. But now this is where it gets neat. You see that? The way it's falling apart there? See all those little cubes? You just pop them out. You pop out the cubes that you want to pop out to the camera shape, and then the bottom foam there. So you would set your camera in there, or like that, and then cut your foam, or pop out the number of squares that would make it fit snug. But as you can see, it's way too big. Defeats the purpose of it being a vlogging setup. The idea is small. Now luckily, the camera, the camera's not tiny, but it is small and very, very light. And I did test the theory. It absolutely does fit in your pocket. It fits in your pocket big, but it does fit in the pocket, which is important to me. Anyway, I guess that's showing everything in the package. I wanted to show you a few things on the way it captures, so let's move on to that. Okay, so now I'm using the new camera. This is the R700, filming the G30. And I'll just show a couple of things right off the bat. Now here's something that the GoPro would not do. Let me see, there we go. This is macro. You can get right up to what it is that you want to film. And look at right there, I'm actually touching. And then in addition to that, here I'm touching, and you can even zoom in a little bit while it's actually even touching. So it's like a little bit of a microscope, and right there's the limit. But now that's something that has been a bit of a frustration with the GoPro. So like if you wanted to show something up really super close, you couldn't do it. And here you definitely can. So that is good. Now the other major thing, let me do this. We have it set on, I don't know which zoom setting it's on, but let me zoom in on that palm tree there. Okay, and there we go. As you can see, nice, smooth, and it's continuing to do its stabilization even under full zoom, which is very handy. Now I don't know which zoom that was, so I'm going to turn this off and double check. Okay, so that was the 32x zoom. I've switched it to 57x zoom, and let's see how close we can get. I don't know, is that about the same? Anyway, there's one more option. There's like an 1100 zoom, which is probably pretty lousy. Let me try it though. Okay, this is apparently called 1140 zoom. Let's see what happens. Now, you see, they shouldn't even offer that because that's not Let's get something that's not moving, like the grass over there. I don't see any reason to use that. Quite a zoom though. So anyway, I just wanted to, like, say for example, this is my normal walk out to the truck that would be all super shaky with the GoPro. As you can see, nice and smooth. Much, much, much better. And I'm not even using a stick, this is just in my hand. And so that is definitely what I want. And if I wanted to zoom in on something, I could zoom in on something, like a squirrel. Or who knows what. And by the way, guys, I am so sorry. You guys are getting snow again up there. You don't want to see this, do you? Anyway, there's one more thing I wanted to show you that's really, really important. Okay, so here's the other thing I wanted to show. You ever notice how, now this one doesn't have a separate viewfinder where you can stick your eye, like, what do you call it, the eyepiece? Ironically, I'm having to use the eyepiece on the G30 right now to film this, because when I go out into the sun I won't be able to see the screen. And this is the only way I can do that. But watch this. Walk out into the sun. Now I'm getting, you see all my fingerprints and so on. But look at this. You can still see the screen. And I'm out in full sunlight. And so even without an eyepiece, I'm going to be able to see what I'm doing. And that right there is awesome. It makes it a very, very good choice for a lawn care vlogging camera. Oh yeah, also I wanted to mention, oh yeah, that's another thing that the GoPro does, is it overheats quite often, which is kind of funny actually, considering that it's an outdoor use camera. But the sun, yeah, it's so hot here all the time that the GoPro overheats, especially on its higher modes, like if it's shooting at 120 frames per second or 4K, it overheats pretty often. But something I noticed with the G30, oh look, it's auto powering off. But the G30, the one I'm using right here, even using it in full daylight, you know, sun, for like an hour, it never overheated. This camera has never overheated. And so I'm hoping that's going to reign true with this one as well, because it's also a Canon. And then in addition to that, I got the white one on purpose because black attracts sun and white should repel sun. So I don't know. I don't know for sure if it's going to overheat. I'm going to be the one that overheats it, but I hope it doesn't. But anyway, that is a look at the package that comes with it, and one of the packages that you can order, and I'll put the link to the exact package. I'm gonna wait a good week of using this before I do an in-depth review of the good and bad, pros and cons, and the technical aspects. So all I'm saying is this seems like a really good camera right now. But I wouldn't run out and get one until you see my actual review in about a week or two, maybe. But this is what I'll be using. The next vlog, the next lawn care vlog, it should be number 14, will be shot. I'll make sure I try to film it entirely with this camera, so you'll get a good look at what it does. Look at this. I've got a squirrel. He's in there. See him? This is the type of thing I'm going to be able to do with this new camera. Now, this is being filmed with the G30, but the new camera should be able to do this. And that's what I want. What a way to end the video, huh? Okay, so that does it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Sorry if it was lengthy. There's no quick way to do this. But that'll do it. Everybody have a good one.